Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. On behalf of the NAACP, I'd like to welcome all of our participants, and on behalf of Luzerne County, I'd like to thank all of the candidates for coming tonight. I'm Daryl Lewis. I'm with the Wilkes-Barre chapter of the NAACP, and we will be hearing from our Luzerne County Council candidates tonight. We've structured this meeting in a way like it is miniature interviews. So each of the candidates will be given a block of several questions. They will have approximately 10 minutes to answer those questions as well as to introduce themselves and their party. If there's anything that you as a audience member would like to communicate, please keep that in the chat or email the Wilkes-Barre NAACP chapter email address, which has been provided in the Facebook event. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to start with Jimmy. I'm going to ask that you introduce yourself, your party, and then I'm going to start asking you questions, and I'm putting your 10 minutes on the board right now.
Hello, everyone. How are you tonight? My name is Jimmy Sabatino. I'm a Democrat, obviously running for Luzerne County Council. A little bit about myself. My siblings and I own Vesuvio's Pizzeria and Sports Bar with 3 locations throughout the county. My grandparents originally started that business in 1975. My siblings and I branched out to start our own branch of it in 2006. In Drums, Pennsylvania, and we branched out and bought our location in Wilkes-Barre about 10 years ago. And then last year we went back and bought the family homestead from the rest of the family. So now we own all 3 locations exclusively. A little bit more about myself and why I'm running. As an openly gay candidate, I feel that, and a small business owner, I feel that there's a lot of crossroads between me, meaning that I can represent different people and bring a different voice and a different perspective to council. I think that my experience as a small business owner is something that's severely needed on the county council because that voice is very rarely heard from. Any questions, Daryl? You're muted.
Luzerne has more blighted and repository properties than any surrounding county. How would you handle the 1,000+ abandoned properties?
I would do whatever I can to put them back on the tax rolls. Anything that could be done with these blighted properties to either put them back on the tax rolls and bring that revenue into the county, or to demolish them and maybe have community parks, smaller community parks for different neighborhoods and areas around the county. Right now, during the pandemic, there's a lot of need for community space. Our state parks and national parks are being overrun. I just heard on a podcast today that they're going to start doing reservation times for national parks. Having smaller parks in a community or even community gardens would free up our national and state parks, but also give people something that they can do close to home. And also renting out the spaces in the community garden would be a small but important revenue stream into the county.
How will you work to secure elections in Luzerne County?
Well, the process of securing elections really begins at the top. The county council has taken some good measures in ensuring that we are taking our time in choosing a good county manager. A good county manager will then in turn hire a good director of elections. Not to say that we haven't had good ones in the past, but we need to look forward at this moment. Keeping the elections board independent of political influence is priority number 1 to keep our election integrity. And making sure that that office is run appropriately and with the due diligence and security that's needed.
Luzerne County has a consistently high COVID infection rate, higher than the surrounding counties. What, if anything, would you do to work with or around this issue?
Well, this is the issue of the day. With COVID cases rising right now, we have to do our due diligence as people first and work to protect other people by wearing our masks in situations that need it or getting the vaccine. I am a proponent of getting the vaccine. I think that if you need to be out in public, you should get the vaccine, and just educating people on how the vaccine has come about and how we're going to, how it is used to prevent the virus from not spreading, but diminishing symptoms and hospitalizations. So in that vein, I would definitely educate about the benefits of the vaccine.
Outside of the council or politics, what role do you play in the county community?
I volunteer yearly for Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Easter to prepare and deliver meals to people in need. I'm a board member of In This Together, which is a newly formed organization to educate voters and also to help community people who are in need of any sort of services. And lastly, I'm a board member of Queer NEPA, which is a group that advocates the rights of LGBTQ people.
Some towns or cities have greater infrastructure or financial needs. Is there a community or an area that needs your immediate attention upon taking the position?
I think that one of the areas that is often forgotten are the roads in the rural areas in the southern part of the county. A majority of county infrastructure is in the southern part of the county. Barring bridges, I would say all of the roads, or 95% of them, are in the southern part of the county. And those communities are often forgotten. One of the tenets of my campaign is to bring light to forgotten communities, whether they be geographic communities or communities of people that are often neglected by government in general. I think that I know there's a road in Hollenbeck Township that definitely needs to be paved. I've gotten called out on that 3 or 4 times every time I've been there. So there are a lot of communities in the rural areas of the county that are just forgotten.
All right. Thank you again, Jimmy. Later on, we're going to field some questions from our chat. So thank you for going first. You're going to have some time to relax.
Thanks.
Matt Vough,
Yes.
if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself, your party, and we'll tackle some of these questions.
Yes, good evening. My name is Matthew Vogt from Pittston. I am currently on County Council seeking re-election, and I'm ready for the questions.
All right. Are there any ordinances or policies on the book that need to be changed or modified?
So we've seen in the last year especially that the current home rule charter differs from state law on many issues. State law is ever changing while the home rule charter was adopted 10 years ago. So I do believe that there needs to be an update to the charter that adapts with current day state law. This would eliminate lawsuits where the charter and state law conflict. And if I'm lucky enough to have a second term, I believe a government study commission should be considered to review certain language in the charter, as well as addressing the current size of county council.
What are your top 3 personal objectives within the council?
So I would say my top 3 are fiscal responsibility, economic growth, and enhanced government services. So over the last 4 years, the county has made great strides financially, including an upgraded credit rating while continuously paying down the debt. The county debt should be the #1 priority for all of us on this meeting tonight. We will continue to make the required payments. That's essential. and improve our credit rating continuously while maintaining the high level of vital services our residents depend on. My second objective is economic growth. So I've supported every LRTA that has come to council over the last 4 years, and I'll continue to support every one of them. Most importantly, this land is being bought is unused, underdeveloped, and untaxed lands. The county's not getting anything from it. And we can bring in Fortune 500 companies that will develop the land for us, create thousands of jobs, and boost local economies while most of the time using local labor. So I'll continue to support these projects because of the job creation, and I believe economic development is crucial for the future of Luzerne County. And the third one was enhanced government services. So currently the county is having a hard time finding quality workers, and there are several open crucial jobs in children and youth and probation. So it's important for council to look at these positions and consider upping the pay to find quality workers who care about their job rather than consistently hiring at a low pay and experiencing high turnover. I think we need to hire the best people when it comes to those who help our children and most vulnerable.
And moving on, what is something the county does particularly well?
I would say that the one thing that the county and management does well is operate within the budget that county council provides to them. The county employees operate on a pretty thin budget the way it is and still execute their duties daily. The last couple of years, management has come back to council with a surplus, which is a huge win, and I believe that the management and all the employees should be applauded for that.
Thank you. What is something that the county does particularly poorly?
So I would say that the main thing that the county can improve on is enhanced services. Like I mentioned that before as a priority. That would be a priority of mine as my second term, if I'm lucky enough to be elected. I think we need to take a deep dive into pay versus output of our most crucial services. Are our children and youth caseworkers being paid enough? If not, are we hiring the wrong people because we can't afford the right ones? We should not be conservative when it comes to the safety and well-being of our children. We currently have high turnover rate in that department and have so many job openings. So I think council needs to strongly consider improving the quality of the job so we can improve the lives of the children that they represent.
Who is your political icon or inspiration?
Yeah, so I've told this to many people before. My political inspiration is JFK, John F. Kennedy. I'm a fan of the way he's handled himself when it came to bipartisanship, especially. One of his most famous quotes was, "Let us not see the Republican answer or the Democratic answer, but the right answer. Let us not seek to fix the blame for the past, and let us accept our own responsibility for the future." And that's a quote that is something that I think about a lot. His motive was to do the right thing, and that has been my motivation for the first 4 years on council. County council, as much as some people might think, it's not Democrat versus Republican to me. We make financial decisions that affect our residents, and we as a council need to forget party and make decisions that benefit all of Luzerne County.
All right. Thank you again, Matt. Moving on, John Lombardo. If we can start with an introduction and your political party.
Hello, everybody. My name is John Lombardo. I'm a Republican. I'm 28 years old. I am a 2015 graduate of Penn State University. I currently live in the city of Pittston, where I also work for the city full-time as a firefighter and EMT. So, that's an interesting job. And, in that job, I do a lot of public service, serving the community and serving the people in a very direct way. So I thought that running for county council would be a great next step in sort of doing the same thing. And I decided to actually run for county council because over the last few years, I noticed a lot of my friends and a lot of other people my age they were leaving Luzerne County, leaving Northeast Pennsylvania, looking for greener pastures in other places like New York City, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and other major metropolitan areas. And not only were they leaving, it was very upsetting to me when I would see them leave, and then I would see them, have this very negative viewpoint of the county and the area where they grew up in. And I know Luzerne County is, a great place to live for all its shortcomings. And what I want to do on council is make sure that, we can work individually with each municipality so that Luzerne County is not just a great place to live, but a great place to stay.
All right. Thank you, John. Starting with the questions, are there any ordinances or policies on the book that need to be changed or modified?
Yeah, so I agree with some of the other statements that were made. The biggest thing for me is looking at the actual makeup of the council. I think that that's something that we really need to look at right now. There's 11 at-large members, and I don't really know that that's serving us the best that it can. I would like to personally see, if we don't completely restructure the county government, I would at least like to see that we take 6 of these at-large seats away and replace them with 6 district-style seats, which in my opinion, I think should go with each legislative district in the county from 116 to 121. And then that way, I think citizens of each district will at least have a person that they know they can go to if they have questions about things going on in the county. And, they'll at least have the ability to talk to them, and somebody can be, they can be accountable to somebody. I was actually against the home rule charter in the first place. So I would honestly be in favor of doing a government study commission and seeing if we can sort of go back to this commissioner style rule instead of home rule, and maybe have an elected manager as well. And I also think that we need to look at the language that precludes a lot of individuals from serving on some of the ABC committees. That's something that I think is not helping the county right now. I understand why the language is in there, but I think it was more of a knee-jerk reaction, to the corruption scandals than an actual solution. And I think, it's been 10 years. Our county's form of government is only 10 years old. Other organizations have these older forms of government. I think it's really time that we just sit down, take a look at it, and see if it's actually serving people the way it needs to be.
Thank you. What is something the county does particularly well?
So I think that the county does a really good job of managing our finances. Over the last few years, we've been able to take care of reducing our debt obligations by about half. And that to me is really important. That's one of the most important things that we should be looking at when we do the managing of the money of the county. And another thing, I don't know that this is necessarily a comment about something the county does well, but more just a positive comment about the council itself. We have a lot of diverse opinions on the council, and I think that diversity of opinion makes for really good governance. I know that it might seem sometimes like things aren't moving very quickly or whatever, but at the same time, we have a lot of different opinions in the room, and I think that's really important because the right idea is somewhere in the mix of all of them.
Who is your political icon or inspiration?
For this answer, I actually have 2 people. The first one, if I could do like locally and then sort of like a national one. Locally, one of my political icons is former state representative James Musto, who served Luzerne County and northeastern Luzerne County for many years. And one of the reasons why he's actually an inspiration of mine, and I only recently learned this about him, is how feverishly he actually fought to get compensation for workers in Luzerne County who were suffering from black lung. And he actually spearheaded the bill to get compensation for that. And it actually ended up becoming federal law. So, somebody like him, he never lost track of who he was representing and why he was serving in that office. That's the reason why they put him there, so that they can finally get the justice they deserved and finally have that opportunity to lead a little bit of a better life, because they did so much for this country by getting the coal out of the ground for the energy that we need, and it was time for the country to kind of give back to them. So he did, I think, a really good job of that, and I'm always inspired by him and his tenacity. And nationally, I would say, I have a lot of people that I have a lot of admiration for, but one of them is definitely Abraham Lincoln. I'd say he's another person that really fought for what he believed in, and the opinion might not have been so popular at the time, but it ended up being successful. He led the country through the Civil War and was able to actually finish it off and make sure that his viewpoint that no man should have dominion over another actually was successful, to the point where he actually ended up giving his life for the cause. So he's somebody that I always have admired politically as well, nationally.
How will you work to secure elections in Luzerne County?
So obviously the first thing that's really important to having secure elections is having somebody that is, managing that bureau that is doing a good job. I've been saying a lot that we need to be hiring people who aren't just going to be there as like a placeholder or something like that, that might not just be in that position as a stepping stone. And not to say that any of the people that have been in there have been doing that, but it seems like, we're cycling through these elections directors, a lot more than we should be. And, I really want to make sure that whoever's in that office has both the experience and the passion that we need to address the issues that we have in the county. And unfortunately, over the last few years, both sides of the political spectrum have sort of been questioning the integrity of the elections between 2016 and 2020. So I think that it's really important that we're doing sort of everything that's in our power as a county to assure voters that our elections are safe. I don't know how much more we can do now in 2021, but I think that there's still the possibility we can make sure that our poll workers are well trained. We can make sure the day goes by as smoothly as possible. And as soon as a problem happens, we need to address it with, the utmost urgency.
Thank you. And outside of the council or politics, what role do you play in the county community?
So as I said before, I'm extremely proud of my profession in public service. I'm a firefighter for the city of Pittston for our fire bureau. And I also work as an EMT for the Greater Pittston Regional Ambulance. We serve in the ambulance, we serve about a dozen communities, and we routinely spawn to several more than that. So it really gives me an opportunity to sort of serve a large part of the county in that capacity. As a first responder, you sort of understand when that a person calls 911, it's oftentimes the worst day of their life. So, when you respond to something like that, you're making all the difference for them. And that's really fulfilling to me. You could be saving their pet from a burning building. You could be helping to revive a sick relative, or even just like holding somebody's hand when they're being rescued from a car accident. It's to me is an extremely fulfilling job. And there's really nothing better than knowing that I made such a direct and positive impact on somebody's life. And, I take a lot of pride in that profession. And, that's one of the biggest things I do for the community. And I do that, like I said, both professionally and volunteer when I can. And I do several other things. I'm on different volunteer groups and whatnot, but that one to me is sort of the one that stands out. I'm very proud of that.
All right. Thank you again for your time, John. Please stick on for questions towards the end. Before we continue, I'm just going to remind everyone, especially those who are just joining us, one, this session is recorded. Two, the format of this meeting is approximate 10-minute blocks that are available to each candidate where they will answer 5 questions. Moving on, Marianne Velez.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marianne Velez. I'm 48. I'm from Dartoe. First time I'm running for political office. I chose to do so because I believe every voice deserves representation at a county level. I would be the first Latina woman to be elected to county council, and I think that says a lot about how far our county has come as far as diversity and inclusion. I'm ready for your questions, Daryl.
What is something the county does poorly?
I think I'm going to state the home rule charter could be revised. I think having the opportunity to serve on Luzerne County Council, if I am elected, I would like to collaborate with my colleagues on revising the home rule charter so it makes sense and fairly represents the needs of all of the residents. I am also in favor of reducing county council from 11 members down to 7 members. I think John had a good idea as far as district representatives, but instead of putting more people on county payroll, we can collaborate more openly and effectively with our local municipal councils. I think if we collaborate on a county level with our local municipalities, we will be able to better serve the needs of all of our residents and ensure everybody has equal opportunity to achieve financial stability and overall happiness.
Who is your political icon or inspiration?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's a no-brainer. If it wasn't for her, I would not be sitting here today. She opened the door for women all across this country to have a credit card in their name, to be able to purchase a home in their name, for their right to stand up and run for political office. She was instrumental at fighting for the underdog, as am I. It's no secret, I am a huge advocate for BLM, LGBTQ, anyone who is facing hardship. And she was instrumental at molding my ethical platform. I truly believe that every human being has a right to live with dignity. And that's what she brought to the Supreme Court. She allowed those individuals whose rights were being violated to uphold their human right and to walk forward with dignity. That is what I hope to bring to County Council, to allow every resident to feel dignified, that their voice is heard and their needs are being met.
Luzerne has more blighted and repository properties than any surrounding county. How will you handle the 1,000+ abandoned properties?
I know through research, I spent about 18 months researching economic development in inner cities where they have completely restructured their local government, and they really geared a lot of their revenue toward community programs. They did this by partnering with DCED in their own respective state, as well as 501c3 organizations or community organizations. And what they essentially did, they went in and they purchased these blighted properties. They teamed up. It was a huge investment in the community. They turned those blighted properties into affordable housing for its residents. Within a 5-year time frame, those selective cities or towns, however they are classified, saw significant economic growth. They saw their homeless population significantly decline. Crime and drug usage also declined, and mental health actually rose. People seem to overall be happier, be more content. The education system started to thrive. Their children were thriving, and these were once communities that were so stricken with poverty they couldn't see the light of day. So I know that these programs work. It is something that I would like to collaborate with fellow council members, if I should be elected, and utilize every opportunity to better our community.
Thank you. How will you work to secure elections in Luzerne County?
I think open line of communication, collaboration, ensuring that we have the right people for the job. Credentials is key. I think with all that has gone on since 2020 with Luzerne County, we made world news with our 2020 election. That was embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. I truly believe with the open line of communication, with transparency, with collaboration, with ensuring that we are entrusting the right people to do the job, we can offset any possibility of anything happening, such as 2020 with the ballots being tossed, or any miscommunication on the ballots, which I know are human error at times. But again, oversight, open line of communication, transparency, making sure we have the right people in office. I think we could get a step ahead and ensure that our elections will be secure.
Luzerne County has consistently high COVID infection numbers, higher than surrounding counties. What, if anything, would you do to work with or around this issue?
Well, first off, I think working with those who are implementing the policies on a state level is key. Utilizing the policies and procedures that they have set in place on a state level will help to decrease our numbers. I am believer in facts, and all of the information that they have gathered are based on scientific facts. We know masks work. We saw in 2020 that even the flu cases declined because people were wearing masks. So we know that this works. Wear a mask, wash your hands. I don't believe that people should be mandated to get the shot because I believe our body, our choice. And you have the right to choose what is best for you and your body. However, I do think, with that being said, you should at least exhibit some form of common courtesy to those around you. And you can do that simply by wearing a mask, hand sanitizing, social distancing. So I think that the businesses that want to enforce that, I applaud them. They're keeping themselves and their patrons and employees safe. I absolutely believe it should be enforced within schools. Our children are known to naturally carry more germs and spread more diseases than adults do. So I do think that more precautions should be made within the school systems. And overall, I think if you're out in public and you're not vaccinated, I do think you have a personal responsibility to mask up.
Okay. Thank you again, Marianne. Sheila.
Okay. You want me to start?
Yes, you were able to unmute yourself, but just so you know, your camera is currently off.
Oh, really? Well, I'm not surprised. I've had problems with internet all day.
But it's okay, because as long as we can hear you, that's what's most important.
Okay,
Could we have you introduce yourself and your party?
certainly. My name is Sheila Saidman. I'm from the Kingston area. I am a graduate of Temple University for my bachelor's and master's degree, and the University of Pittsburgh for my law degree. I have been an educator in high school and college, and I have been a lawyer in everything from private practice to corporate law. I'm running now. I'm a politician now, I guess, and I am an incumbent for county council, and I'm very much learning a great deal on the job.
Thank you for your introduction. Are there any ordinances or policies on the book that need to be changed or modified?
Yes. Throughout the time I've been on council, we have come across several instances that need to be changed. That the drafters of the charter did not foresee some things that were problematic, sometimes conflicts, as Matt said, between state and local law. Secondly, the ABC committee, the Authority Boards and Commission Committee, is one of the committees I serve on. It's very exciting to see how many incredible people in Luzerne County come forward to offer their services voluntarily to serve on our authorities, boards, and commissions. However, they have restrictions on when you can serve, depending on if you were in public office before, if you were a poll worker. Some of those should be totally eliminated, and those changes made so more people can be involved. And the third thing I have just come about learning lately is, as you know, our county manager resigned, and we have an acting county manager who was, prior to that, our county solicitor, our chief county solicitor. Another person came in as chief county solicitor who had been county solicitor for the council before. And he has finished 90 days. In the charter says you can only be in that position as acting solicitor for 90 days. That hurts continuity. That hurts the council in terms of getting the same kind of answers, no inconsistencies. That definitely has to be changed. I believe there's a legislative committee on council, and that is something that we need to sit down and go over the state laws versus the charter laws. Our government study committee that can start looking carefully at the issues with county council.
Thank you. What are your top 3 personal objectives on the council?
Well, I think that I would like to be financially prudent, work with the budget. We have brought to the county 3 years of no tax increase budget. And after being presented with the budget the other night by the acting county manager, she has come in also with a zero tax based budget. So that's very important in terms of being financially prudent and careful without eliminating services. And services are also important. The second thing is commercial development. As Matt said, I have also voted for every LRTA that has come before us. This land, we hear oftentimes from other council members, from other people in the public, how come you're giving tax breaks to these big companies that come in and not to the average person? And I'd love to give tax breaks to everybody, but these people are coming in and clearing up scarred coal land, environmental hazards. They are willing to put the money in and take that land and make it usable. And when they make it usable, we have plants like Chewy and Adidas, all the companies you see up at North Point and Hanover Industrial, and that provides jobs. And those jobs then provide an increased tax base for us. And we are trying to make sure those jobs pay at least $15 an hour with benefits, and that our own labor force, because we have one of the best labor forces around, are working to get that land ready and then to become the people that run these plants. And we've been very successful, and you have a great deal of pride when you go past one of these developments and you knew that before it was just a coal mine coal bank. So it's very interesting.
For everyone's understanding, could you please explain LRTA?
Yes, LRTA is, the best way to explain it is a tax incentive for commercial development. You've all heard of KOZs, special tax programs, tax relief programs. LRTA gives the owner of the land, we may be getting, just say, for example, $10,000 in property taxes on some of these large areas of scarred land. These people come in, put millions of dollars into refurbishing that land and putting companies in there. And then we have taxes that might be worth $1 million. And so they ask us, look, you're going to have a $10 million tax base where you've only had a 10,000 one before. Can you give us a break on when we start paying that 10 million? So usually the first few years, they'll get a break and then it'll keep going up. So maybe they're 50% of the taxes. Then after the 6th year, it might be 70%, 80%, until it gets to 100%. And I think that's what disturbs some people. Why are we giving tax breaks? But those people are also fortunately providing thousands and thousands of jobs and adding to our economy.
Thank you, Sheila. Just letting you know, we're at your 3-minute mark. We have a couple more questions. What is something the county does particularly well?
I think that we are trying to be transparent. From the time I came in till now, we have put up a new website. We are publishing everything and anything on our website so that the public knows what's happening. And anybody that goes on the website knows what's happening.
Outside of the council or politics, what role do you play in the community?
Okay, I sit on a couple boards. I'm very active in the Luzerne County Bar Association for as long as I've been a lawyer. I'm also involved with the Pennsylvania Moms Demands Action, which is for practical gun laws. I'm involved with the Pennsylvania Federation of Democratic Women. I'm strongly involved in my synagogue and also the Jewish Community Center, our new Jewish Community Center on 3rd Avenue. And I sit as the secretary and chair of the Human Resources Committee on Maternal and Family Health Services.
Thank you. We have a minute and a half left for your segment. Some towns or cities have greater infrastructure or financial needs. Is there a community or area that needs your immediate attention upon taking the position?
Flood protection. This area here is prone to floods. It may not happen every year, but we've had from 72, we've had some other scares. And they're expecting another big flood. I think they call it the 100-year flood. We need flood protection. Too many times these people that are living in areas which are near creeks, small tributaries, are getting flooded over and over again. And that's what we need. We also need roads and bridges.
Okay. Thank you again, Sheila. Gregory, thank you for sitting patiently and waiting with us this whole time. If I could have your introduction and your political party.
Sure. My name is Gregory Wolovich. I'm running for Luzerne County Council as a Republican. A little bit about myself. I'm an assistant manager at Wegmans Food Markets in Wilkes-Barre Township, as an assistant manager in the produce department. I attended King's College in Wilkes-Barre, where I gained my bachelor's degree in accounting and also a minor in computer information systems. I've been going around the whole county, visiting all the municipalities. It was my goal to hit all 76. I still have 7 to go before Election Day, so I'll be sure to hit them all. I've met with lots of local officials, community organizations, and small business owners. I'm learning the landscape, learning who's out there, who needs help, who has suggestions, who has information that we need. And also, most importantly, I want to spend a little time here. I want to thank our veterans, first responders, and military for all they do for us. We thank you for your service to our communities. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gregory. What is something the county does poorly?
Something the county does poorly. I believe Sheila said that the county website's been very updated. I know it's sometimes hard to find things that you're looking for on there. I believe the other night they posted a county budget that didn't have the previous year's numbers on there and just the current year's. I believe in the charter they're supposed to release it with both of those numbers on there. Also, the elections website, I know over the years they put sample ballots up the day before polling places. I don't even know if they're still up on the county website. Just getting information out to the people in the county, that's going to be the most important thing that the county can improve upon right now. And also excessive advertising for our authorities, boards, and commissions. I know there's some boards that aren't even operating right now. People need to be aware of how they can contribute to their communities. There's some boards I think that even have members that don't even live in Luzerne County anymore, and those need to be updated. So keeping up to date with our information in Luzerne County would be very important.
Who is your political icon or inspiration?
My political icon and inspiration is actually a little personal to me. I may have never met him, but my second great-grandfather, Stephen Gola, was actually a school board member up in Wilkes-Barre Township. He was a coal mine worker back in the early 20s. He actually lost his leg in a coal mining accident. And as you can see, he didn't let that stop him. He always instilled in his children and his grandchildren. They're involved in cancer research drives and different things in the community. He served on the school board. His name was actually up on the plaque at the rededication of Wilkes-Barre Township. The importance of community and the importance of family, that is my biggest inspiration, as my political inspiration, as my second great-grandfather, Stephen Gola. He instilled a lot of those values in our family.
Thank you very much. Luzerne has more blighted and repository properties than any surrounding county. How would you handle those 1,000+ abandoned properties?
Well, right now, actually, one of the things I was just talking about, the Blighted Property Review Committee has been inactive. I think they may have met once this year. That needs to change. We need to get people involved in that board, that committee, making sure that people are giving information to all of our local communities. Obviously not the cities because they have their own redevelopment authorities, but all of our boroughs and townships. They need this information. They need to know the process involved, the paperwork involved, so that they can get the information out to property owners and say, hey, you have to fix your properties. You have to bring them up to code, or we can come and take them and demolish them. I mean, that's the best way to redevelop our communities, is to actually use the processes in place with the Blighted Property Review Committee and the redevelopment authorities throughout Luzerne County.
How will you work to secure elections in Luzerne County?
Securing elections, training. There's never enough training. Poll workers were confused in the primary when it said Democratic primary, Democratic ballot. They didn't know what answers to give the people. There was so many miscommunications. I've heard even people out there saying, oh, it means democratic process. No, that was incorrect. We need people out there working the polls who are trained. They know what they're doing. They know who to call when there's a problem. They know to shut down the polls. Now, problems with elections have been going on for a very long time. I've actually talked to a gentleman in Hanover Township who worked in Mackinac, Cunningham Township, at a polling place back in the 70s. He said when he walked in the polling place and examined the old poll curtains, there was actually numbers on there and nobody even voted yet. So this problem has been consistent over the last 3-4 decades, probably since the beginning of voting. So we need to make sure that we have poll watchers, poll workers who have been trained, and making sure that our department, our elections bureau, is run by a dedicated leader, somebody who has great organizational skills, and somebody who can get the answers from people when they're required.
Thank you. And Luzerne County has consistently high COVID infection numbers, higher than surrounding counties. What, if anything, would you do to work with or around this issue?
Well, I believe that getting a COVID vaccine is personal choice. I don't believe we should ever mandate it. We should not make people inject their bodies with something that they don't feel comfortable with. There's a lot of pre-existing conditions. There's been issues with heart problems and people who have gotten this shot. And I feel that people who are scared, they're not gonna know what to do. So what we should do is we should just keep promoting vaccines for people who want to get them, direct them to where they need to go, encourage social distancing for people that need it. And if you don't feel comfortable, you need to let somebody know. Like, I always carry a mask with me when I go door knocking. If somebody wants me to use it, I'm more than happy to use it. But like I said, we need to make sure that we're just providing information, telling people where to get the shots if they're interested.
All right. Thank you again. So this concludes our main question block. We have a couple of open questions that any of the candidates can respond to. So we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly. I want to make sure everyone's free by 8 o'clock. For all the candidates, is there anyone in particular on the council or running that you are interested in working with? You can raise your hand and we'll pick on you. And if that question does not appeal to anybody, oh, Sheila, thank you. You can unmute yourself, Sheila.
My picture came back. Okay. Well, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, Daryl, but I have had, I think, a very good relationship with most of the council members. I'm very much looking forward to working with Matt again, because he has come up with some wonderful ideas. And we have, since we came in together, I think we both have grown a lot. And I would really like to continue that relationship.
All right. Thank you, Sheila. Same question to anybody else. Is there anybody that's actively involved in council or seeking election to council that you would like to work with? Okay. And let's move on to another one. What can you bring to council that no one else can bring to council? Jimmy?
Well, like I said in my opening statement, I feel like I can bring a unique perspective of being a small business owner to council. The trials and tribulations of the past few months during the pandemic have been out of this world. We go from not having enough people to work with us to not having enough supplies, and it's just the challenges are mounting every day, and there is truly no voice that understands and has had boots on the ground from the beginning to understand what we are going through. I know that people on the council are very empathetic to us, and they want to help us, but sometimes you need that firsthand experience to know what is needed by these other small businesses and my own to live day by day and to move on day by day. This pandemic has been a really an eye-opening thing for all of us. One of the things I say to people is that if my grandparents had to come today and start the restaurant, the challenges and just the amount of licensing and red tape and bureaucracy that are needed to run a day-to-day business at this moment, they would never have survived. They would have never succeeded the way that they did, and they would have never been able to impart in us the values of hard work and just earning an honest living. So right now, my perspective as a small business owner, and possibly being the first openly gay county council person to bring that unique perspective into the discussion. Like I said, there is a lot of empathy on the council for openly gay people and LGBTQ community, but it's different when you live these things every day. It's harder to explain to people why you think the way you do if you don't have that shared common experience. So having that extra voice on the council might lead to having a better perspective on some of the decisions that impact day-to-day life for a lot of different people.
Thank you, Jimmy. And John, were you interested in the same question?
Yeah, just to follow up on that. Yeah, so I think a unique perspective that I
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is that you, John?
No, there was interruption. I'm not sure who.
Yeah, it was me, Maryann Dartoe. I'm also a write-in candidate for Luzerne County Council.
Sorry, one moment. Okay, John, let's hear from you, and then Martin will hear from you right after that.
All right, am I good?
Yes.
Okay, so I think a unique perspective that I bring to the council is the style of collaboration that I have been involved in my life, particularly as a first responder. I'll talk about that in a second, but I didn't answer the last question because I'm happy to work with anybody that is on the council, anybody that's seeking election, because, like I said, I have this unique perspective. When I was in college, I was involved in several different programs that involved conflict resolution negotiation, and they helped me out quite a bit as far as, my career. And now in the fire service and in EMS, a lot of times, and I talk about this and I like to boast about this a lot, is that, when you're making decisions, you're making a lot of times life-altering decisions, not just for the lives of the people that you're going to help, but sometimes for your own life. And you're going into situations that you don't know about with people who sometimes you might not necessarily even like them. Maybe you got into an argument with them earlier that day or something, but you have to ultimately know that when you're in front of them, that they're behind you and they have your back. And you're not making decisions, twice a month or 3 times a month. You're making decisions 2 or 3 times a minute. And it's not just something that, might affect how many thousands of dollars an organization gets, but it's about, whether or not you might survive the situation you're in. So, I like to pride myself on the ability to have that level-headedness and that unique ability to make decisions, whether they be instantaneous or within seconds. I have a lot of, problem solving skills that I think would be very, very unique and very, very integral to helping the council succeed.
Okay, thank you, John. And let's do this. Gregory, we're going to answer your question. Then Martin, we will stay on and we will run through 5 questions for you, so you have an equal amount of time here on the record that everyone else had.
Good evening, my fellow citizens of Luzerne.
Martin, give us one moment. We're going to answer Gregory's question,
All right,
and
sorry.
then we're going to give you a 10-minute chunk as well.
All right, thank you.
Hi, just on the question that was on the table. I have extensive knowledge of Luzerne County. Like I said, on my tour of Luzerne County, I've been to so many different communities. I've driven on county roads in Black Creek Township that need updates. I know Butler Township has got their road redone. They're looking to turn it back over to the township. I think that's a great idea. I think we need to return the roads to the boroughs for a close hands-on management. They can take care of things locally. That's very important. I know a lot about local history. I know how Jim Thorpe and Carbon County, things are done very well down there. They're bringing in tourists, bringing in attractions. We have places. The Butler House is a beautiful, beautiful building, the oldest building in Wilkes-Barre. We have the Wyoming Massacre, the Wyoming Monument there that honors that. I have actually had cousins through marriage that were actually killed, the Hardings, up in around the Harding-Exeter area. I have so much I can bring to the county. I just think that knowledge, the expertise of visiting each of the municipalities, all 76, from New Columbus to Jetto, Bear Creek Village Borough, all these places I've been to, all the people I've heard from, so many differing viewpoints. I think that will bring a lot to council. I'm open to talk to anybody. I invite people to come to council chambers. Let your voice be heard. I'll be there. I'll answer your questions. If I can't answer your questions, I'll find answers. And if there's questions for people on council, I'll bring those questions up in your stead. That's the whole point of being a representative. We need people who are going to represent you. And that's exactly what I would do as your council member. And that's the strength that I think I could bring to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. All right. And Martin, let's have you introduce yourself and your party.
Good evening, my fellow citizens of Luzerne County. I'm Martin Dartoe. I'm a Liberian immigrant and a proud American who migrated into this great country and settled in Luzerne County in the city of Wilkes-Barre. I can be talking.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Please go ahead.
Go ahead. I am an African-American young man who discovered that we need change within this valley because the people of Luzerne County has been abused, ignored, and forgotten. And enough is enough. It's time that we put a new face. I am a write-in candidate. I was not endorsed by no party. And I'm willing to take the stand because I mustered the courage to take the stand for the people. As we heard throughout the questions I was given, none of my opponents have ever mentioned about the $114 million that the county had received. There are people out there, the common folks, who cannot even pay rent, who cannot even pay for daycares, and no one is talking about it. It's an issue. The issue that I have, there are so many issues within the charter. that needs to be addressed. It needs to be fixed.
Okay, Martin, let's ask you a series of questions, the same questions that some of the other candidates were asked. Luzerne County has more blighted and repository properties than any surrounding county. How will you handle the 1,000+ abandoned properties?
I am a member of the Blight Committee, and there are issues that needs to be done within the blight property. We need to get this blight things fixed. I may not know too much about the county, but once elected by the people, I'm willing to work forward and find the answers to present it to the people. And within the blighted committee, within the blight on property, if there's issues or problem with housing, tear it down. We can use that land to grow food, to feed out the community.
And how will you work to secure elections in Luzerne?
We need a watchdog. We need people out there to monitor what is going on. We're sick and tired of what's going on with human error and whatnot. How many times can we have human errors? We need people that's willing to stick the stand, to watch the poll. Because I spoke with an individual a week ago, and he told me, "Oh yeah, back in our days, when the election was going on, all we have to do, we pay a couple people off, and then we shut everything down." It's wrong. We need a fair election. We need people who is willing to take the stand to watch everything and make sure that the ballot is count, to level the playing field for all. Because common sense plus knowledge equals intelligence. There are a lot of people with knowledge, but they are lacking of common sense. So let us balance the field and make it even for all. This is what our nation was created. This is what our founding father wrote the Constitution.
Okay. Luzerne County has consistently high COVID infection numbers, higher than the surrounding counties. What would you do to work with or around that issue?
It's our choice. We have an inalienable right as a human being to take the shot or not to take the shot. I'm 32 years old. I'm full of a lot of energy. I came from 3,065 miles away from home, where I was born. But this is my nation. If we don't have any form of insight of the medicine, the shots or what it represents, why should I inject something into my body that's gonna alter? I have a good friend, my neighbor, whose mother took the shot and she went deaf. So it has to be a research. Give the people choice. Stop pushing the mandates and forcing people to do things out of their own will. It's not we work for the people. So we must make sure that the people have a choice. If they want to wear the mask, okay.
Okay. And outside of politics or the council, what role do you play in the community?
I'm a common person. I'm a common human being. I'm out there every day, no matter which part of the city you go or any part of the county. I come in contact with those people every single day. I'm a member of the Blight Committee. We go out, clean out the community. But on my own level, on personal interest, I reach out to the people. I go places that majority of my candidates are afraid to go. I go into the high rise, the Sherman Hill, all the places that people are scared to go. But yet, they say, "Oh, well, I'm here with this municipal authority people and what?" No, It's wrong. Must have the courage to take the stand, to do things where you want, what needs to be done for the betterment of this community in this county. It's not difficult, it's not hard. It's called having the guts. Must have the courage to have their guts.
Thank you. And one more question. Some towns or cities have greater infrastructure or financial needs. Is there a community or an area that needs your immediate attention upon taking the position?
Everywhere. When I mention too much, because I live in the city of Wilkes-Barre. So yes, it's the road is messed up. Yeah, we need to fix our place. Not just one section, but we need to fix all. But I can only speak for the city of Wilkes-Barre. But there are many places that I have traveled throughout this time, and I saw that it needs to be fixed. Because the crime is increasing. People are afraid to walk around with the beautiful dike that we have. And why?
Thank you, Martin. We do have a couple more questions that are going to be open to all candidates. So let's ask the next one. What can you bring to council that no one else can? And if I could get a hand raised, Marianne?
I believe I would bring not only a fiscally conservative approach to handling taxpayer money, I would also be a voice. I've heard a lot of candidates on here tonight speak about moving around the county and speaking to different people and really getting into the neighborhoods. I am literally in the streets every day. I walk Sherman Hills. I take my granddaughter to Cole Street Park to play. I sit with the senior citizens and even do their grocery shopping for them if they can't get out. I have led efforts within the community to clothe and feed the homeless. I absolutely understand the needs of the community because I am a part of the community. These are my neighbors. These are my friends. This is my family. This is where my daughter is raising my granddaughter. I absolutely care about what is going on inside of Luzerne County. I'm not only going to be a voice for the people, but I'm going to be their eyes and their ears and offer them truth, equality, and transparency on every level. If given the opportunity to represent Luzerne County Council, Luzerne County on County Council, I can make one promise that every day that I am sitting in that seat, and I have even chosen to forego the $8,000 a year salary so it could be implemented into a community project or a community program, that I will do everything I can to make your life better. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question from one of the participants. We'd like to get any of the candidates' feedback on the situation with children and youth and what directions we can take to correct that. If I could get some hands up to address that. Martin, I saw your hand up first, then Marianne, Sheila, and John.
I'm a former member of the Children and Youth, and from day one, when I stepped into the building, I knew that things wasn't right. And I said, it smelled like in here. Meaning, there's so many hidden corruption and secrecy. But I stood there and I watched. I gathered information, and I was able to present it to good people. And when I present this information to good people, there were other people who were working together. And now the stuff that I told them, it became a reality. Those are the type of things, the corruption within this valley needs to stop. The oppression of the common people need to stop. And I'm wanting to take the stand because I'm not afraid to take the stand, to fight for our people. Thank you.
Thank you. And Martin, going forward, if you could keep in mind that this is a mixed crowd, and we would appreciate if your language was a little bit more appropriate for a mixed crowd of strangers.
I apologize. Thank you.
Marianne? Sure. Marianne needs a moment. Sheila, would you be ready to respond
Yeah.
to the children and youth question?
Yes. The children and youth issue is a very complicated one. And it is not being handled right now, at least in the investigatory stage. It is being handled not by us, not by the local government, but at the Attorney General's office. And Josh Shapiro is really looking at it very carefully. And I think that most people really don't have a lot of sympathy for what happened. It almost rises to the level of Kids for Cash, maybe even equals Kids for Cash. However, it stems back also to children and youth, the large, incredibly large caseload the individual workers have. And then their managers have many bureaucratic rules to follow that they have to constantly update and prepare. We get a lot of money through the state for children and youth. But we have to increase their salaries so it is a more desirable place to work. It's an incredibly tough job. And this job during COVID was just almost impossible. But it's not an excuse for what happened several years ago. And it's taken a long time for the state to discover it. And I think that the investigation should do everything, and the people that have to be held accountable for what they did.
Thank you. Marianne? And after Marianne, we'll have John.
If I am elected to county council, and if I were already elected to county council, I'll start there. If I were already elected to county council when the CYS scandal broke, I would have stepped down. As an elected official, on any capacity, when we fail our children, we fail our job. We have parents in the community that are screaming. We have went to X, Y, and Z. We have spoken to Mr. and Mrs. We have asked for help. I have spoken to the workers at CYS, some past, some present, and Sheila is absolutely correct. They are overwhelmed with caseloads. We can increase their salary. We can ensure that we have educated, properly trained individuals working for this agency. These are our children. They are the future of Luzerne County. And if we fail them, we fail at our job, period. Open line of communication, transparency, oversight. These are just some of the measures that could be taken to ensure our children's needs are being met, they are being protected, and they are receiving the best services our money can give them.
Thank
With
you,
that,
Marianne. Oh,
you're
sorry.
no,
Please
that's fine.
continue.
No. I was pretty much done. So thank you.
John Lombardo.
Yeah, so I agree with a lot of what's been said so far. I think that, obviously the scandal really hurt, the most vulnerable among us, the people we should be protecting first and foremost, which is the children of the county. Of course, it is obvious that the children and youth, they have a huge caseload. It's almost unmanageable at this point. And I honestly feel for a lot of the workers. But ultimately, like I may have said before, and like I sort of have said in my campaign quite a bit, this really comes down to accountability and who ultimately is accountable for it. Is it the children and youth director? Is it the county manager? Is it the county controller? Is it the county council? This is the problem, is that a lot of times the citizens don't really know who do we point the finger at. And I don't know the answer to the question, to be honest with you. I don't know, where do we see, who was supposed to point out the failures here? And who was supposed to address them before it got to the level that it's at now, and before the state had to get involved and whatnot. So I really think that we need to start holding a lot of people more accountable as the future comes around. That's basically my viewpoint on it.
And we've mentioned the possibility or prospect of actually the need for increasing salaries for some of these positions. How are we going to accomplish that? Do we plan on raising taxes to accomplish that? We've already gone over the fact with LERTA that some of these corporations are on tax breaks. Where's the money going to come from? This is an open question. Do we see a need to raise taxes for the citizens? If anybody wants to take that. Marianne?
I think we need to look at our overall budget. We need to look where the revenue is being spent. I am extremely fiscally conservative. I was single mother for a long time. I managed to budget our home extremely well, where we were able to take vacations, and she had a good life, and so forth and so on. I run a nonprofit. I am fiscally conservative with our money. I run my house extremely fiscally conservative to the best of our ability. When we are looking at agencies who are overseeing the needs of our children, our abused, neglected children, I think we need to focus on where we are spending our money. Where can we best utilize our revenue? And when we're looking at scandals, when we're looking at children being disregarded by the very people who are supposed to be looking after them, I think we need to start refocusing on how much money we are actually allocating to these community programs, because essentially that's what CYS is. It is a community program. It's designed to help the children in our community. And I think we need to focus more on those initiatives and really have a conversation about how our revenue can better overall serve all of the needs of every resident, including the children.
All right. Martin and then Sheila, same question regarding tax increases.
My motto is simple: 3+1, the protection of senior citizens, women, children, and those who cannot protect themselves. And here's why. Senior citizens and children are vulnerable. People take advantage of them. I came from a woman. And those who cannot protect themselves, not everybody was born to fight. I stand with tax decrease. We must have tax decrease for our seniors. They have worked throughout their entire lives, raising family, paying taxes. They're old, they live alone, and we are not taking care of them. They'll continue to become oppressed. The government, the county government is just oppressing the people. They're oppressing the people because they want the youth, to leave the area. Because throughout the meeting of county council, you barely see people from the community come into the meeting. It's only been few that will come to the meeting. Why? I call it the stream blockage, like a funnel that had the little breaking point. So they will pass all the laws and the legislator and stuff to oppress the people, to create that stream blockage. And that blockage needs to be broken to make sure that we protect all. Play the playing field. Let the playing field be even, like a seesaw.
Thank you, Martin. And Sheila.
Well, I think that no matter what, there's always a give and take between taxes and services. So you're not going to raise taxes or you're going to try to lower taxes. You have to decide which services you can forego. And that is not necessarily a good choice. So if we want enhanced services, sometimes we would have to raise taxes. When our county manager came in yesterday or 2 days ago with a zero budget, it was kind of a little bit different, because usually the county managers come in with a tax increase, and from there we can whittle down. So I'm not exactly sure how this is going to work, because it's already at zero. I think that sometimes we have to think about a tax increase if we want to continue and enhance the services. We are getting $146 million for the American Rescue Plan. And hopefully some of that can be used in certain areas to enhance the things that we need to get done without touching our general fund.
Thank you. Okay, so we have run out of questions and we're over our initially planned time. However, if any of the candidates have any closing remarks, you're more than welcome to make them at this point. If you do, please raise your hand before you do so. Okay, Martin, Marianne, and I think I had seen, okay, Gregory and John. So starting with Martin.
To my beloved citizens of Luzerne County, I want to thank you all, and I humbly ask for your write-in, November 2nd. This is the battle that we're in. There's a battle for change. There's a battle for our future generation. As we walk through the milestone, the rest of the way, which is about a couple more weeks, let us use our brain, our God-given ability, to make the rightful decision to elect the individual who will stand to fight for you and your rights. Once there's life, there's hope. So we must keep hope alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Marianne? Marianne, did you? Sorry.
I was having technical difficulties. I apologize. I just wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and answer those extremely important questions. I hope it gave everybody an opportunity to get to know me a little bit better, understand my stances on local politics. I'm new to the arena. I am not a politician. I have a lot to learn. I have learned a lot thus far. And I really hope, whether you vote by mail-in ballot or you plan to visit a polling place on November 2nd, please keep in mind what truly matters to you, your family, our community, and our county. Vote with your conscience. Please, no matter how you choose to do it, vote. Your vote is your voice. let it be heard. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marianne. Gregory.
Again, I want to thank you guys for having me here tonight. It's great to talk to some voters, talk to some people out in the community, because again, it's all about community. That's what the charter was written for. The citizens of Luzerne County have both the right and responsibility to participate in all phases of county government, and united by a common desire for truth, accountability, and openness, we the people of Luzerne County enact this charter. That's the first line of the preamble. I'm here to fight for you. I'm here to fight for fiscal responsibility. I'm here to fight for a strict budget. We got to stop changing the budget every couple of weeks, changing this for employee job description changes and all that. No, we need to focus on maintaining our budget as written. We write a budget and pass a budget for a reason. Again, I have an accounting major. I work in Wegmans as a manager. I see financials every day. If you don't stick to what you plan, you're going to have problems. You're going to have issues down the line. And many times in the past, we've had the reserve fund. Now, in an instance like this, we could use the reserve fund to maybe fund a little bit more on our children and youth, which again, our children are our future. Our children need role models, mentors, children that fall through the cracks. That's the reason for crime. That's the reason for blight in our communities. That's the reason why we're having such a hard time in this area. We need responsible people managing these departments, people in there we can trust, people we can trust with our children. When they're in there sweeping cases under the rug, that is unacceptable. When things like that happen, you need to bring that forward. You need to bring that knowledge to the people in charge. And if they don't listen, bring it to somebody who will. Don't hold back. I understand caseloads are humongous, but you need to make it known that you need help. Without communication, we can't go anywhere. Communication is very important. And without it, we will never get anywhere. I will fight for you. I will never stop fighting for you. My name is Greg Wolovich. I'm running for Luzerne County Council. I ask for your vote on November 2nd. God bless Luzerne County. God bless the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory. John.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure I gave a quick thank you to the NAACP of Wilkes-Barre for having us on tonight. I really wasn't sure if we were going to have a candidate forum this year, but I'm glad we were able to. It's really important that we hear from every single person, find out what they believe, and everybody got to ask some questions tonight, which was really nice too. And one of the things that I sort of didn't get to talk about tonight is one of the really the main tenets of my campaign. Like I said about attracting young people back to this area and bringing them back, and making sure that we make sure Luzerne County is a great place to live. I'm a huge history buff, and I want to make sure that we're taking a look at our local history and preserving it, preserving our old buildings, preserving our local landmarks and whatnot, remembering our history sort of for what it is, not really what we want it to be, because that's really important to Luzerne County and to our heritage. And I'm also really interested in revitalizing the local towns, doing everything we can as a county to help do that. And in my answers, which I'll have submitted after this, you can read a little bit more about that and through my campaign. But like I said in the beginning of this, I'm from the city of Pittston, and I remember when I was a little kid, and even 30 years ago, people said they never wanted to drive through the city. And now, there are businesses that are literally beating down the doors to get in there because of how beautiful it looks and how the revitalization has affected the area. So that's a great example of what good governance does for a community. And I want to take that mindset and bring it county-wide, because I think every single municipality and every single town should have the same opportunities that my hometown does. I want them all to be able to be proud of their main streets and proud of their neighborhoods. And I want us to do everything that we possibly can as a county to make sure that that happens. So I'm really excited about it, and I really hope that I help your vote on November 2nd. Thank you very much for having me again.
Thank you, John. Final opportunities for candidates for closing remarks. Okay, so thank you again, everybody, for attending or participating on behalf of the NAACP. I'd like to thank the community on behalf of the county. As a member of the county, I would like to thank the candidates for making themselves available. For the candidates, and Martin, I will make sure that I get in contact with you and send you an email as well. For the candidates, I ask that you all answer all the questions, write down the answers, and provide me with your answers so I can make all the information possible for you and your platform available to the community, so the community can do their best to decide and make an informed decision on Election Day. Have a good night, and I hope you all not only vote, but drag your friends and your family to vote as well.